All right, let's just jump right in. Speed, velocity, acceleration. I know, they're words we use all the time. But when you get into the physics of it, things can get messy and, honestly, kind of confusing. But I promise you this, by the end of our little chat here, you're not just going to know them, you're going to feel them. Yeah, does looking at these three together make your brain go a little fuzzy? If it does, you're in good company. They look and sound similar, but the tiny differences between them are what make the universe tick. So let's pull these threads apart one by one. And that's the whole point, right? We're ditching the dry textbook definitions today. Forget the formulas for a minute. We're going to use simple, everyday stuff to build a real intuition for this. Because once you can actually feel it, I guarantee it'll stick with you forever. Okay, so let's kick things off with what seems like the most basic question ever. Right now, at this very moment, are you sitting still? Are you at rest? The answer? Well, it's probably not what you think. It all comes down to perspective. To figure this out, let's set a scene. It's a classic. Imagine our friend Babita just sitting on a bus that's driving down the road. Now on the sidewalk, her friend Shanti is standing there, watching the bus go past. And inside the bus, sitting right next to Babita, is their other friend, Goli. So here's the puzzle. If you ask Shanti, hey, is Babita moving? She's going to say, duh, the bus is moving, so she's moving. But if you turn to Goli on the bus and ask him the same question, he'll look at you funny and say, what are you talking about? She's been sitting right here the whole time. She's at rest. So, who's right? And here's the mind bender. They both are. And that, my friends, is the absolute core of what we call relative motion. See, motion isn't some absolute thing. It always depends on your point of view, or what physicists call a frame of reference. Compared to Shanti on the street, Babita is totally in motion. Compared to Goli on the bus, she's perfectly still. So, let's bring this back to you. Are you sitting still? Well, compared to the room you're in, yeah, for sure. But get this. Compared to the sun, you, me, and the entire planet Earth are hurtling through space at about 30 kilometers every single second. It's insane, right? So the big takeaway here is that motion is always relative. All right, so motion is relative. Cool, we got that. But now, how do we actually, measure it? Well, it turns out there are two completely different ways to talk about how far something goes, and they're both super important. Let's go back to Shanti and Babita. Let's say Shanti wants to walk over to Babita. She doesn't take a perfectly straight path. She kind of winds around a bench, avoids a puddle, and the total path she walks is 20 meters. But if she could just draw a straight line and walk that shortcut, it would only be 10 meters. Those two numbers, 20 and 10, are telling us two very different things. Let's break it down. Distance is the easy one. It's the total ground you covered, that 20-meter scenic route. It's what your car's odometer tracks. Displacement, on the other hand, is the shortcut. It's the straight line from point A to point B. It doesn't care about the journey, only the start and the finish. And that's why distance is a scalar. It's just a number. But displacement is a vector. It's a number plus a direction, like 10 meters east. See the difference? And this leads to this kind of wild, maybe slightly morbid idea. Think about it. You could live this long, incredible life, travel all over the world, rack up millions of kilometers in distance. But if you were born in a hospital, and at the very end of your life, you end up back in that exact same hospital, your entire life's displacement is zero. It's a powerful way to remember that displacement only cares about where you start and where you end up. Okay, so we've got distance, the total journey, and displacement, the direct shortcut. Nailing this difference is everything if you want to understand the difference between speed and velocity. So now let's just add one more ingredient: time.
Speed. We all get speed, it's just how fast you're going. It's simple. You take the total distance you traveled and you divide it by how long it took you. Boom, that's your speed.
Velocity, though, is a little more picky. It's calculated using displacement, not distance. So what velocity really tells you is how quickly your position is changing and in what direction. It's not just how fast, it's how fast and where to.
So yeah, the key difference really is just direction. If I tell you my speed is 3 meters per second, that's all you know. But if I say my velocity is -3 meters per second, that little minus sign is crucial. It tells you which way I'm going, maybe backwards or south. You can think of it like this. Velocity is just speed with a GPS built in.
All right, deep breath. We've got speed and velocity locked down. But what do we call it when your velocity isn't constant? You know, when you hit the gas or slam on the brakes or even just take a sharp turn. Well, that brings us to our final piece of the puzzle. That would be acceleration. And listen up, because this is the one everybody gets twisted. Acceleration is not just speeding up. It is any change in velocity. Stepping on the gas? That's positive acceleration. Hitting the brakes? That's acceleration too, just negative. And here's the kicker. Even taking a turn at a perfectly steady speed is acceleration. Why? Because your direction is changing, which means your velocity is changing. And you feel this stuff all the time. Imagine you're just cruising on your bike, nice and steady. Now squeeze the brakes. Your velocity drops from, say, 8 meters per second all the way down to 0. That rate of change, that's your acceleration. In this case, it's a -1. You can literally feel your body lurching forward. That's the feeling of deceleration.
So there we have it. We started out just wondering if we were even moving, and we ended up talking about how we change that motion. It all comes back to one big, powerful idea. So let's tie it all together.
So here's the cheat sheet, the way it all stacks up. The total winding path you take, your distance, gives you your speed. The straight line shortcut from start to finish, your displacement, gives you your velocity. And then any change in that velocity, that's acceleration. See? It's like building blocks. Each one rests perfectly on the one that came before it. And that brings us right back where we started. Physics just taught us that something as basic as moving or standing still is completely dependent on your point of view. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? If motion itself is all relative, what other big truths in life are just a matter of perspective? Something to chew on. Thanks for hanging out with me.